One couple more questions as we get started here. What makes an online meeting or class bad or boring? We've all been in them. Like, what's something that makes it just awful, just bad?
When they read their PowerPoint to me, I can read.
Right. They just, yeah,
They
they're
aren't
flipping.
smart enough to talk about it. They shouldn't be doing the program.
Exactly. Like, I don't need you to read to me. Exactly. That's a good one. What else?
When everyone's talking at the same time.
Okay, right. Yeah, there's no either everyone's talking or no one's talking, right? Either one of those are both bad, right? Yeah, exactly.
No opportunity for interaction or questions.
Okay, so like the presenter's just like, a water fountain and it's just coming out and there's no time to stop or breathe, or there's no invitation to engage. Yeah, that's a good example. Anything else?
I think when the meeting gets a little bit out of control, because the presenter gets bombarded by questions and personal stories, and I want to rescue them.
You want to throw them a lifeline. Yeah, some people aren't good at kind of getting out of those predicaments, and or you have somebody who's over dominating the conversation and they don't know how to handle it. That's painful to sit through sometimes. I had a lady in a class I was teaching. I think it was last week. It was a little more technology bent to it, and she was asking question after question after question. It's like she had a personal training with me, and I eventually had to say, "Listen, let's stay. You and I can stay after class, and I'll spend as much time as you need with you after class. But we've got to move on. We've got a lot of other things to cover." So I wasn't shutting her down, but I was telling her, "Hey, I want to acknowledge you, and I want to do this later." So because she would have just kept asking questions the whole time. She was relentless. And I could sense people were like, "Oh my gosh, would she stop asking questions?" All right. And then conversely, what makes an online meeting class good? I mean, obviously the opposite of those things, but is anything else that would make it good?
Starts on time.
Okay, starts on time. Yeah.
Ends on time.
All right.
Yes.
Yeah, it doesn't just go on and on and on forever, right? Like, I don't know where this guy's going. Yeah. Karen?
And some humor is injected.
Okay, yeah. I mean, yeah, why can't it be a little fun? Why can't you laugh a little, right? Why can't there be a little bit of levity in even if it's a serious topic, you could weave in a little bit of levity in there. Medicine.
I would say introducing other elements, like for instance, I've been in meetings where they make surveys and then discuss them. Surveys are about your opinion, and they present clips, things like that make you think about information and want to stay.
Good. Yeah, that's good. I like that element. Sandra.
I take a lot of notes, so I'm very visual. So when there's a PowerPoint with points, then it really does help me because I refer back to those notes all the time.
Good. Yeah. It's interesting. Some people are more visual than others, but we all have a visual component to us, right? And we learn with lots of different senses. It's not just what we hear, it's also what we see. And you can really drive home a point if you've got a good visual or a good supportive PowerPoint slide or whatever. And that really helps. I'm that way. And you'll hear me say, I say it a lot, I teach and lead much like I like to be taught and led. That's what I do. And I think most people are kind of like that. And so the things I like, I do myself because I want other people to have that experience as well. All right. So yeah, these are all things that we talk about. When we think about Zoom fatigue, this is a real thing, right? It's a real thing that we deal with now. We never had this before, but now we have this idea of it's a real thing. Physiologically, it's a real thing. And there's ways to prevent this. And I think that there are both the presenter and the participants have a role in preventing Zoom fatigue. So obviously the presenter, don't be boring, right? We talked about some of that. Don't just be like reading your slides and not laughing and not having fun and not giving people a chance to talk. That's just rough. Just that will create fatigue right there. Be engaging and interesting. We'll get into how to do that a little bit. Know how to use your tools. As Nancy said, she likes when things work, right? I mean, I teach a lot, and technology will bomb out on me every now and then. I've had a couple of classes over the last year that literally I lost internet connection. I had to restart the whole computer. I was like kicked out of the class. I had to restart the computer, come back in, and thankfully everybody was still there. So like we tell our TAs to tell people, hang on, he's coming back. He's coming back. So most of the time it works, but you don't want the tools really wearing somebody out and being lost in their tools. That's kind of frustrating. And then the participants, right? If they're going to be on a call for a long time, they need to move around. It's really hard to sit still the whole time. So moving around. Now, the good thing about our classes, they're 45 minutes to an hour. They're not forever. But, you can move around. It's just hard to sit still that long. So being able to move around, focusing and not multitasking, that's one of the dangers of it is, you could be doing 5 other things right now. I don't know. You're just kind of looking at the screen. I don't know what else you're looking at. I don't know what else you're doing. What's below the frame that I'm seeing. But we know that when we multitask, we really aren't paying much attention. My definition of multitasking is doing more than one thing poorly. That's what that's my definition of multitasking. And when you're doing part of it, but it's really not that great, right? Yeah, Nancy, that's right. The brain can only absorb what.
Lost you.
Oh, no. Wow.
Okay, let's
Is
break
it-
it.
oh
dear.
Is this a, maybe
This
this
old
is a
man,
test?
he went away. Where in the hell did he go today? Yeah, we ought to
Wow.
be singing something. We're all in our places with sunshiny faces, but we lost one of the faces. What a hoot.
Face.
He's actually doing a live demonstration. I didn't do that. I didn't do that for illustration. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Know your tools.
Wow.
That was a quick recovery though. That was a good one. That was just Zoom. Zoom just kicked me out for some reason. So that
Oh,
wasn't
that's
the full.
funny.
That wasn't the full shutdown, which is.
Oh, okay.
Oh
That's
my
okay.
goodness. That's too funny that just happened. Okay. All right. Here's another thing. We know that looking at ourselves on a screen is tiring also. I don't know if you know that. Think about it. In real life, you would not be in a room. If we were in a room together, you wouldn't sit down with a mirror in front of yourself and look at yourself talk while we're in the room with us. That would be weird and really exhausting. So
Yeah.
Zoom has a feature where you can actually hide your self view. Did you know that? If you on your computer, if you're on a computer, not so much on your phone, it's a little, not sure where it is on the phone, but on the computer, if you mouse over, well, I should say this, if you mouse over your picture and you go up in the right-hand corner where the 3 dots are,
Uh-huh.
should be on that menu, there should be an item that says hide self view. Do you see it?
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
Yes.
Wait.
Now,
Let me
we can still see you. You just can't see yourself anymore. That takes the pressure off of you. Some of us are really